Okay, if you were around in the late 90s, there's just no way you don't remember the Bloodhound Gang. I mean, they were the absolute kings of comedy rock, right? Famous for their insane antics, super offensive humor, and a couple of hits you literally could not escape. But then, right when they were at their peak, they just kind of disappeared.
Come on, you know this one. I bet you can't even read that without hearing this song in your head, right? For so many people, that one line basically is the Bloodhound Gang. It was catchy, it was, let's be honest, pretty dumb, and you could not get away from it.
Seriously, in 1999, The Bad Touch wasn't just a hit song, it was this massive global phenomenon that somehow turned these guys into superstars. But here's the thing, that song, it's really just the very, very tip of a much weirder iceberg.
Yeah, this isn't just a story about a band that slowly faded out of the spotlight. No. Their full story involves a crazy genre swap, a major international incident that actually got them deported, and then, poof, a decade of pretty much total silence. So what really happened to the Bloodhound Gang? Let's get into it.
All right, first things first, we've got to go back to the very beginning. Because, and you might not know this, the band everyone remembers is not how they started out. Their roots are in a totally different style of music.
Yep, you heard that right. Before they were the Bloodhound Gang, they were called Bang Chamber 8. They formed back in 1988 in Pennsylvania, and they were a local hip-hop group. Think Beastie Boys, think Cypress Hill. That was their vibe. No loud guitars, no screaming, just beats and rhymes.
And what's wild is just how fast this all happened. I mean, they started as this hip-hop act, literally selling homemade cassette tapes from their cars. Then in 1995, they put out their first album, Use Your Fingers, which was pure rap. But then, get this, just 1 year later, they released One Fierce Beer Coaster with the hit Firewater Burn, and boom, they had totally morphed into the alt-rock band that would make them huge.
And that new rock sound? Well, it led them straight to the absolute peak of their career, all because of that one song that, well, it just took over the entire planet.
So their third album, Hooray for Boobies, drops, and with it comes The Bad Touch. It had this infectious kind of Euro disco vibe, and it was just impossible to ignore. It didn't just climb the charts, it absolutely dominated them.
And just to give you an idea of how huge this was, The Bad Touch hit #1 in 8 different European countries. We're talking Germany, Spain, Sweden, Ireland, the list goes on. This wasn't just some quirky American one-hit wonder anymore. These guys were a legit global force.
Of course, with all that fame came a ton of scrutiny. And you have to remember, this was the late 90s, kind of an anything-goes era. The band's whole identity was built around being shocking and provocative. They used this crude, satirical humor that was basically designed to push people's buttons. And yeah, it got them into a lot of trouble.
A perfect example? The music video for their biggest song. So in the original version, there's this scene where the band, who are all dressed in monkey costumes, by the way, are beating 2 men who are portrayed as stereotypically gay with baguettes. The Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation, GLAAD, saw it, complained to MTV and said, nope, this is not okay.
So MTV ended up cutting the scene. But frontman Jimmy Pop's response was just peak Bloodhound Gang. Totally sarcastic, totally unapologetic. He basically said their humor was so ridiculous and over the top that there's no way anyone could take it seriously enough to be a real threat. And that was pretty much their attitude about everything.
But fast forward to 2013, their whole shock jock thing goes from a controversy about a music video to a massive, full-blown international incident. And this one event, well, it pretty much ended their career as a touring band.
Okay, so here's the scene. The band is on stage in Odessa, Ukraine. During the show, the bassist, Jared Hasselhoff, grabs a Russian flag that was thrown on stage and he proceeds to stuff it down the front of his pants and then pull it out the back. And as if that wasn't enough, he leans into the mic and says to the crowd, "Don't tell Putin." Right. Well, this is the age of smartphones, so of course a video of it goes viral almost instantly in both Ukraine and Russia. And yeah, someone definitely told Putin. The fallout was immediate. And it was severe. They were supposed to play a festival in Russia right after that show. That was canceled. As they were trying to leave the country, their van got pelted with eggs and tomatoes by activists. They were reportedly attacked in the airport, and then they were deported. And look, this wasn't just a handful of angry protesters. This was an official, government-level response. The Russian culture minister at the time, Vladimir Medinsky, actually went on TV and said, quote, "These idiots will not perform." For a band that built its entire career on jokes, the message from the Kremlin couldn't have been clearer. The joke was over.
So after that whole mess, the band just vanished. They finished up the rest of their tour dates in 2013, and then they went into this long, unofficial hiatus. A hiatus that ended up lasting for more than 10 years. Now, the band never officially broke up or anything, but fans have kind of put the pieces together over the years. Obviously, a big part of it was the huge fallout from the flag incident, but there was personal stuff too. There were a lot of reports about frontman Jimmy Pop struggling with things like panic disorder and agoraphobia. And on top of all that, there was this general feeling that maybe their kind of humor just wouldn't fly in today's more PC world.
And the band's main creative guy, Jimmy Pop, pretty much confirmed it. He started telling fans on social media that he was, quote, retired from touring. And for all intents and purposes, it looked like the Bloodhound Gang was done.
And for years, that's where the story ended. A really quiet end for one of the loudest bands out there. But then, late in 2024, something totally out of the blue happened.
Just completely out of nowhere, the bassist Jared Hasselhoff posts this video online with this bombshell announcement. After a decade of nothing, he just flat out says, the Bloodhound Gang is back. Now, what does that actually mean? A new album? A tour? Who knows? It's a total mystery right now.
So, it looks like they're back. But that leaves us with one last pretty big question. In a world that has changed so much since they were last around, is a Bloodhound Gang comeback actually a good idea? I'm curious what you all think.